Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Now Creation Sunday service. Let me again simply say what a joy it is to be with you. And I ask you just to take a moment, and what I'd like to suggest is that each one of us is becoming heaven on earth. There you are, here I am. We are in the God Spirit. This is what heaven is, to be in the God Spirit. And here we are on earth in the physical plane. May each day you begin to see yourself in this way, that I am what the God Spirit is doing. I am heaven here on planet Earth. Let me say also that I'm very excited during this past week because we now have over 100 people doing our study on A Course in Mastering Alchemy. I believe that this is a greater pathway to greater consciousness. If any of you would still like to join, there's still a possibility of joining with us, but the window is closing very quickly. We are moving into fuller, greater consciousness, and what a great joy it is to do so. Especially, we've been receiving so many responses lately. Someone texted the other day, I have the calmest assurance that I've ever had in my life. Isn't that wonderful? To feel calmly assured that you know what you're doing. And then someone else sent in, the universe is not so much concerned about achievements as it is for acts of kindness. I mean, isn't it wonderful to see that? It's not what we can achieve competitively with others, but truly to see the kindness and the goodness that is emanating from us. It's a wonder to behold. It's a wonder to behold the advancement that we are making. Many of us are becoming fully conscious in this present lifetime, fulfilling an often repeated statement of Roy Eugene Davis when he said, strive to be fully enlightened in this lifetime. We are doing it. We are doing it. We are finally being all that we've ever wanted to be in this lifetime, right now, here on earth. At this time, normally in the introduction of the Sunday teaching, I usually suggest the theme of the teaching. However, today I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it at this time, seeing if you can not just guess the theme that I'll be presenting, but seeing if you can feel it, seeing if you can intuit what I want to say as we progress. This will be a good example for you to test your intuitive power. Let's begin. For the last 2 weeks, I've been mentioning the theme of teaching or having your purpose in life. And I have said that as you do so, as you find that purpose in life, there are 3 beautiful experiences that you will have. Then I went on to define the first of those 2 experiences, namely your ability to experience, to feel, and to know your connection with the God Spirit. Not just being able to know it conceptually, but to feel that presence within you so that you can rest in that presence whenever you desire, as well as to manifest it creatively in whatever you might be able to be doing. And then the second experience you might recall was learning to listen to the voice of your soul, not to the voices in your head, but listening to the voice of your soul, that it might give you guidance as to what to create. And for many of us, we're learning to listen to this voice ever more clearly. We also gave the distinction by Eckhart Tolle, which was very important, not to confuse your roles in life with your purpose in life. We have many, many, many roles, but usually only one singular purpose, one direction. And then I said to you that there would be a third experience, but you'll have to, in a sense, hear that third experience or find that third experience after the first 2. and I was not able to describe it in the last two sessions, but now I'm going to do it today. So now I am ready to suggest to you the third experience you will have. The third experience you will have as you continue to understand your purpose in life. First a comment and then a reminder. First the comment. Remember that I said, in order for you to truly find your purpose in life, it is dependent on you making the shift from you seeing yourself simply as a limited human being to experiencing yourself as an eternal soul. This still holds. To experience this third thing that I'm going to suggest, you still have to make that shift. Once you do, it'll make perfect sense to you. If you do not, it'll simply have limited impact. And then the reminder. Remember, I simply asked you to see if you could intuit this third experience. Just see how you do as we progress. This will be fun. Let me begin by describing this third experience. In one of the great books of the 1990s, Eckhart Tolle presented a most interesting work that kind of rocked the spiritual world, but also much of the material world. It took it by storm. The book was called The Power of Now. The book itself was a wonderful analysis of how people thought and reacted in the world. The book itself was very clear that one state of consciousness had to be clearly understood before you could clearly realize what was going on and see how you were responding in the world. But many people said that the book was too analytical, too conceptual, too cerebral, too Eckhart-like. And they were delighted when he wrote the sequel, The New Earth, saying that it was more accessible to the everyday person, more user-friendly. And it is. But what struck me in Eckhart's first book, The Power of Now, was how he began the book. The Power of Now began with this little opening chapter in which Eckhart said, "Did you ever go into a room and see a bouquet of freshly cut flowers? Did you ever go into a room and see a bouquet of freshly cut flowers?" And then he asked, what would be your response? He suggested that your response was, "Ah, aren't they beautiful? Ah, aren't they beautiful?" And then, very insightful, he said, what was it in you that responded to the flowers? What was that something in you that seemed to connect with the flowers and made you say, "Ah, aren't they beautiful?" Not unlike the feeling that maybe you presently have when you look at the beauty of the spring blossoms. Or perhaps maybe when you go to a beach and you feel the ocean. Or maybe to the top of a mountain and you view the scenery. Or simply maybe at night looking up at the stars and just wondering, where did it all come from? And yet feeling a connection. Or just whenever you see a thing of beauty, whether it's a worm or a Mercedes-Benz, and you just say to yourself, isn't that beautiful? And don't you wonder, what is it in you that sees the beauty in that object? What's the connection between you and it? It's obviously there, but what is it? And now a second experience, especially promoted by the coronavirus. Let's say that in the past, when you would go to a grocery store, you would have your shopping list and you probably wanted to get in and get out because, well, you had so many other things to do. But now, as you go to a supermarket, many of you wearing your masks, things are just a little different. First, you arrive in the parking lot and you immediately notice those who are wearing masks and those who are not. No judgment, but just noticing something you didn't have to notice before. And then you're into the supermarket and you go to the deli and you just begin to appreciate the delicatessen workers, maybe even thanking them for simply being there. And then you pass another shopper in the aisle, and previously you would have just gone by them, but maybe now you just kind of look at them, even with your mask on, and perhaps not even saying anything, you just notice a connection to them with your eyes. You just notice that. You seem to smile at each other at times. And then at the checkout, you truly thank the person there at the checkout. You meet them, in a sense, eye to eye, and you just feel really good about this. Well, what's going on in the supermarket? What's going on there? What are you feeling, seeing in the supermarket? And then you come home and you see that beautiful flower again, perhaps a fragrant bush, and you wonder, what is going on? And then you notice how good you feel. Then you really wonder, what is going on? What I would suggest to you is that what is going on? What is going on is the experience of oneness. The third experience that I said you would have when you expand your soul awareness. Before I proceed, how did you do? Did you intuit I was going to be talking about oneness when I was alluding to nature and to people? Were you feeling this connectedness? Now let me be much more explicit. This feeling of oneness, such a beautiful feeling, has the following components. The first one is that there is a part of you that is connected with and resonates with every other part of creation, whether a flower in nature or a person in a supermarket. You are connected to everyone and to everything, whether you know it or not. And sometimes, even before you know it in your head, you feel it within your heart. There is a connection. There is something going on. There is a oneness within you, I would suggest. There is a oneness within you that is connected to everything and everyone because everything comes from and resonates with the energy of the one source. You feel the connection. You recognize it, and you know it. It is precognitive. It is intuitive. You simply know what's occurring. And once you move to this sense of oneness, you begin to feel it with everyone and with everything, because everyone and everything is connected. Now, might I suggest to you the following three very beautiful experiences. The first one, you begin to realize that what is going on within you, the oneness that you feel, is a participation in a much larger energy. You and I are a participation in the God energy itself. You and I are a participation in the God energy itself, just as is everyone in every other thing. Let me just say it again. You and I are a participation in the God energy. We are points of light in a greater light. Now, just follow me. Just follow me. This is not difficult, but it does take an expanding consciousness. Do you remember saying at one time that I just want to do God's will? Or perhaps maybe you recall those words of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane when he said, "Not my will, but thine be done." Now just follow me. Because you clearly see that you are a participation in the God energy, and you feel this oneness in you, might I suggest that you can now say, "Not my will be done, not thy will be done, but our will be done," because you have identified your purpose with God's purpose. Your will as God's will, because of the oneness of all creation. I'm going to say it again. Because you clearly see that you are a participation in the God energy, and you feel this oneness in you, I suggest that you can now say, "Not my will be done, and not even thy will be done, but rather our will be done," because you've identified your purpose with God's purpose, your will as God's will. Do not back down from this. Now, the second point of the beauty of oneness. Do you recall the words of Jesus when he said that the greatest among you is the one who serves the needs of others? And how many times, even recently, have you not said, "I just want to be of service. I just want to be of service"? Now again, just follow me. When you are experiencing your oneness with people, situations, in nature, one of your abilities is the ability to clearly see what is clearly needed in situations. Let me say it again. One of your abilities is your ability to clearly see what is clearly needed in situations. Because of the feeling of oneness with what is going on right in front of you, you feel absolutely confident that you can read the situation clearly and thus know how to respond accurately, so that you do not become a doormat for others, so that you do not accept lame excuses for what one can fix themselves, so that you do not foster codependency, so that you do not allow others to play on your sympathy. Rather, because you see clearly, because of the oneness, you deliver exactly what the person or situation calls for. once you feel the oneness, you begin to accurately see what is there. Accurately see what is there. Not just surface, not just event, but accurately see what is occurring. This is the proverbial win-win of every situation when we are in oneness. There's one more thing. There's a third aspect to the experience of oneness that you will have. And perhaps you'll feel maybe that it's your highest oneness experience. Here it is. Eventually, you will come to realize that what is clearly going on, namely, your ability to say our will as God's will, and your ability to accurately read a situation from the oneness clarity, is going to have something else. This is the something else. That ability to say our will and to read clearly is going on in many other people. Now here's the point, that you know. It's going on in many other people that you know. While you clearly realize that oneness is available to everyone, even though others don't always see it, you also realize that this oneness of experience is going on with others that you know. You are becoming a sense of oneness, not just with the God Spirit, but you're also realizing that this oneness is enabling you to feel comfortable with others. This is a huge achievement. You are moving into oneness not just with the God Spirit, but also with others who are in the same oneness. You and I have moved beyond personality differences into a oneness consciousness of the same Spirit within us, in which we are shared participants. So important to say this again. We have moved beyond personality differences, likes, dislikes, preferences, into a conscious oneness of the same Spirit, in which we are shared participants. Did you ever think that you would come to this awareness? And did you ever think that you would experience this oneness with others and mean it with all your heart? And mean it, oneness, soul to soul, with all your heart. You're changing. I'm changing. It's quite an experience. Quite an experience. Might I say, it's just the beginning. In conclusion, and again, always contingent upon the notion, have you made the shift from seeing yourself as a limited human to seeing yourself as a much more eternal soul? I suggest that you would have these three beautiful experiences as to your purpose in life. The first one was to know yourself as part of the God Spirit, enjoying the rest in your wholeness and the creativity in your expression. Then that second purpose was to listen to the voice of God that is within you and to bring it forth, your proclivities, manifesting here on the earth plane. And then that third experience, to know, to absolutely know the experience of oneness with nature and with others, so that we can live heaven on earth with other aware souls, and heartfully know that this is so. We are doing this. Is it any wonder that it is so joyful? Don't you feel that right now? Right now. Let me now take you into meditation, and what a joy it is to do so. Let's begin as we normally do by simply focusing again on the theme, which is obviously oneness today, and also now into the practice of being attentive to our breathing. Just breathing in and breathing out, and just begin to feel the rhythm of the breath. Please begin. Now I'm going to ask you to notice something. Would you notice how good you feel right now? Not earthly goodness, not personality goodness, but how really good you feel. Would you feel your soul goodness? It might take you a moment to get there, but move into your soul satisfaction. I'm going to ask you again, focus. Move into your soul feeling good, not surfacey, your soul. And just notice how good you as soul feel. Now, from this point of soul goodness, in realizing your participation in the God Spirit as a point of its light, do you not see that it is not my will being done, but it's not even thy will being done? Do you not see that it is our will being done as us? For many of you, this concept of our will being done is new to you this morning. You are ready for this enhancement. And now the second aspect of oneness. From the clarity of your soul, which sees not simply the occurrence, not simply the event, not simply surface stuff, but rather can accurately read the meaning, the feel. You are clearly able to know what is going on and can respond accordingly. When the woman texted me and said, "I have calm assurance," this is what she meant. I see clearly and I respond accordingly. Not from what others might think, but from what my soul guides me to do. Calm assurance. you know what you're doing because you see clearly. And when you show up this way with clarity, you give the greatest guidance possible to others. And lastly now, the idea of being one with others that you know. It's one thing to say, I am one in the God Spirit. It's another thing to say that I know what to do in practical situations. That's a little different. Not unimportant, but a little different than feeling a oneness with others and not resorting to trivial conversation about the weather or the virus, but rather staying connected in your goodness to their goodness. Risking being genuine, loving, rather than perfunctory. And just a thought, perhaps feeling comfortable to be genuine in the loving embrace of others that you know, who lovingly embrace you as well. This will be a launching pad for us to be more genuine and sincere, even with others who are not quite at this state of consciousness yet. Do you not see how it is all moving forward? Do you not see how I could say, this is just the beginning? Don't you feel that? Now let me be crystal clear. This moving forward is contingent on two things. That you have made the shift from the limitations of your personality self to the expansion of your soul consciousness. Many of you have done so. Some of you are becoming so. The second contingency, in addition to the shift, is the understanding of oneness. Your purpose in life is a oneness with the God Spirit, in your creative abilities to bring forth goodness, and in a sharing with each other. Continue the breath. And would you notice again how good you feel? And the anticipation, the excitement of the more that is to come.
the light shines bright to illumine love without, love within. I honor thee. I honor thee. Namaste. I honor thee. I honor thee. I honor thee. Namaste. I honor thee. When you are where you need to be, within that space, I honor thee. Seen through eyes of illusion, seen through spirit, we are one. I honor thee. I honor thee. I honor thee. Namaste. I honor thee. I honor thee. I honor thee. I honor thee. Namaste. I honor thee. Namaste. I honor
Just notice again how good you feel. Heaven, fully conscious on earth. That's why it's fairly easy for us to say, I am an eternal being of light and love. Thus, well, only good can come to me, and only good can come from me. We know each other. We know each other at this level. We are eternal beings of light and love. Thus, only good can come to us, and only good comes from us. Namaste, dear wonderful, mighty, mighty souls. Namaste.